Hi everyone and welcome to a new video on the channel. It is the third in the series of top 10s and tonight I'm discussing the top 10 grounds that I would like to visit in the future, but there is a plot twist to this one because I'm not allowed to have two grounds from the same country, just to add a bit more spice to it and make it a bit more interesting. So here it goes. So in at number 10, we're off to the Netherlands and to De Kuil, the home of VVV Venlo. Now, so I actually saw Venlo play a couple of years ago away at Sparta Rotterdam, a game which I'll talk about more in the future. But the ground looks interesting. You know, I think it's pretty small considering they're in the top league. I think it's just more the fact that the team have played in one of the best football matches I've ever been to is sort of my reasoning behind why I want to go there, but hopefully that will be able to come about one day in the not too distant future. So in at number 9 is the Stadion Jeliska in Prague in the Czech Republic, the home of Dukla Prague. It's a city that I've been wanting to visit, and I know pretty much everyone that I've asked who's been says Prague's really good and it's well worth a visit, you know, cheap and all that. And Dukla are an interesting club. Obviously there's the song All I Want for Christmas is a Dukla Prague away kit. So yeah, they've got quite a big stand there, it looks like. Let's see, almost Czech Gateshead in a way, you know, they've got a run track around the pitch, so it'll be an interesting trip that, and hopefully I'll get my trip to Prague soon and I'll be able to fit in a Dukla game. And at number 8 is the short hop over to Northern Ireland and to the Oval, the home of Glentoran in Belfast. I actually went to Belfast in about a year and a half ago. I went to watch Linfield against Motherwell in a friendly at Windsor Park. I absolutely thought the city was absolutely brilliant. It was a really good trip, and Glentoran is one that I would very much like to visit one day. I know they do a package where you can have a stadium tour before the game, then get a ticket for the match with that package as well. So I'll probably take them up on that offer when I do get around to going to it. It shouldn't be one that's too difficult to do, you know, there's plenty of ways to get to Belfast, it's not too far, you know, I don't even need, technically I don't even need to go through border control or anything, so I'll try and get around to that. If I can do it at some point in the season, great, maybe squeeze it in, but if not, then it's certainly one to look out for, see when I can do it next season. So in at number 7 is a ground in England, specifically in Birmingham, and that is Villa Park, the home, obviously, of Aston Villa. It's been one I've been wanting to go to, and I know it's not really that easy to get tickets for a game there, but I'm sure I'll find a way one day, even if it's just a friendly or a cup game that no one's really that bothered about and that won't sell out anyway, but I will get around to it. And it's just a case of when with that one, really. So in at number 6 is the Rhein Energy Stadion, which is the home of FC Cologne in Germany. There's quite a few I wouldn't mind doing in Germany, you know, the likes of Kaiserslautern, Frankfurt, Hertha Berlin, Hamburg. But I think above all, I would like to go to Cologne's ground. You know, who has been says it's one you've definitely got to do, and it looks a pretty decent city as well. So I'll certainly be keeping an eye out over the next couple of years for if and when a trip to Cologne would be possible. Number 5 is East End Park, the home of Dunfermline Athletic in Scotland. I was actually meant to be going to this ground on Easter Saturday last season, which would have been the 11th of April, but obviously COVID got in the way, didn't it? So my wait to go there goes on even longer, but I'm still pretty determined. I'm sure I'll figure out something before too long to get there, and it's not really that far too difficult to get to when you think about it. So that's one I'd very much like to do one day, is East End Park. So at number 4, we are going to sunny Spain for this one, and to the Estadio Mister, the home of Valencia. And I don't know what it is with Valencia, and just one of those clubs that just weirdly interests me, and the ground looks pretty good, to be fair. Again, in Spain, I wouldn't mind visiting the 2 clubs in Seville either. Maybe go back to Madrid, because I really enjoyed my trip there. But I think for Spain, Valencia definitely does top the list. And obviously a city on the coast as well. It'd make a neat little trip. So I'll be sure to get round to it one day. And at number 3 is the Estadio Municipal de Braga, the home of SC Braga in Portugal. I'll tell you what the story is behind this one. A couple of years ago, Gateshead were playing away to Wrexham on the Saturday, but on the Friday night, I went down to the area a night early, and on a Friday night I went to Kefin Druids, who told me that their ground, along with Braga's, are the only 2 in Europe that are played sort of basically around a rock. So that's the story behind that. So I'd be very much interested to go to Braga, just to say that I've done both. At number 2, we're going over to the United States and to Providence Park, the home of Portland Timbers. Again, like, people seem to mock the MLS and stuff like that, but a couple of years ago I went to New York City against Orlando City and to LA Galaxy against Real Salt Lake, and the standard isn't as bad as it's made out. It's not actually that bad. Obviously the match day experience is completely different to over here, but that's just the American culture. But it doesn't mean that it's bad, not at all. And obviously Portland Timbers are the ones that people look to for the fan culture and stuff like that. They've got a bit of a tradition where every time they score, the guy gets a chainsaw out and cuts off a bit of a log, and then he gives that bit of log to whoever scored the goal. I mean, it's blatantly obvious that if and when I go, the game's either going to finish 0-0 or Portland are going to lose without scoring. But even so, it's not just about that. They've got tifo displays, and it looks quite sort of a quirky ground as well. So the number 2, perhaps surprisingly, is Portland Timbers. And at number 1 is a ground that I'm running on a time limit to get to, and that is, of course, the San Siro, the home of AC and Inter Milan in Italy. The way I see it, I've been to the Bernabeu, and I've been to Wembley, Old Trafford. I've got all the time in the world to get to some of the other world-renowned stadia. But the San Siro, I think, it's because of how sort of world-renowned it is. I'd be absolutely kicking myself if it got knocked down without me ever going. So when the opportunity comes to go to the San Siro, I am 100% taking it. So that is it from me for this video. The final in the top 10 series will be out this Saturday morning, and that will be the top 10 matches that I have ever been to, which is kind of good timing, really, considering they've just announced that some stadiums will be allowed to admit spectators again. Obviously, I'm keeping everything crossed that the North East isn't put into Tier 3, so I can go to the Gateshead against Kidderminster match on the 12th of December, but I'm also looking out for the West Midlands as well, because Gateshead are away to Leamington the week before, which should be a nice little way to go back to the football after lockdown. But we'll just have to keep fingers crossed. Either way, there is match day videos coming back onto the channel before Christmas, which is obviously something I'm relieved and pretty pleased about. But until Saturday, take care and I will see you there.